I would love if you would just share a few minutes, like what you do, who you are, so that people can get a sense of what you do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So my name's Stephanie Miner. I'm a dentist in Minnesota, and I have 2 practices, and I have 3 kids who are teenagers. One's in college. I'm married. I've been married for 26 years. So yeah, but
Wow.
I'm a
So
business
good.
owner. Right. No.
So good.
Awesome.
And so inside of that, if you will share, what had you, like before you joined the Awaken Entrepreneur, what were you really struggling with?
You know, I'm a dentist, and then I opened my own dental practices, the first one about 11 years ago, and then I bought a second one. So they're doing very well. I have 5 associate dentists, and it's grown to 30 employees in 2 locations, and I do a specialty area of dentistry. So as a dentist, I've grown really well, but I always kind of struggled with owning a business and just being a leader in the business. I mean, it's grown well, and it's by all measures, the business has done really well. But I got to the point where I just felt like I was stuck, and I wasn't happy either, because I felt like I had been growing or, you know, on a path that wasn't really what I completely wanted, but I didn't know what I wanted. And I didn't also know what was holding me back from even like identifying what I want, I think is one of the challenges I was having. So
And really, who can relate to that, right? Like, not even, right? It's so good. It really does help. You're helping so many people. That's exactly how people feel. So yeah, I totally feel that. And feel how you were inside of before, because you've only, Michael, you can help me on this. They're on week, like how long ago was Stephanie in there?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say I listened to your book on New Year's Eve day. Like I downloaded it, and then so that was kind of, and I was in another coaching program as well. I actually even joined a coaching program. I'm in the middle of this IPEC coaching that I'm becoming like a life coach myself, because I was just kind of trying to like be on this path of just figuring out how to connect better with people and how to be a better leader. So I may do at some point, I kind of envision more like dentistry, life coaching, but yeah. So, I mean, but when I heard your book, I mean, I listened to it while I was like putting away New Year's Eve decorations or New Year's. And I just like totally, it resonated with me completely. I think it just, so many things you said. And then you and I met a couple of weeks later, and then I just did what you guys are all doing. And then so it kind of went quick.
So how long?
So,
so this is how long, Michael?
7 weeks ago.
7 weeks ago. Okay, so 7 weeks.
She was sitting in your chair watching a different guest. Come on.
Yeah.
See, yeah, this is great because you can be able to see.
Yeah, so
this.
both of them, we didn't say this at the intros. Each of them are in the 8-week program that is available to you guys. Some of you have already signed up for, and that they're in we just started week 7.
Yeah.
So that's where they're at.
Absolutely. And so inside of this, I know you're successful, but you felt stuck and not really knowing why, inside of like what you shared, and then not really knowing where you want to go. Did you know what your original core trauma was?
No.
I always like to know this. Like, did you know that ahead of time?
No, but it was like kind of just my last memory that I had. And so I think I'm unpacking it.
Yeah. And so you didn't know what it was. And then once you saw it, like tell everybody, if you wouldn't mind telling us, like tell them what was your original trauma so they can understand, like how then was that really impacting you even when you didn't know it? Like what was the original trauma?
I think, when you draw that circular graph, I mean, I think like there's the original core trauma, and then there's all these like mini traumas, that you can remember and identify later when you're even in your childhood. And so my probably was the beginning of everything was just, I was like a year and a half, but I was climbing on like a dresser drawers to get something on the top. And like my mom came in and discovered that I was there. I don't even remember her being that mad or upset. It's not like that was this huge traumatic thing. It was that then I just remember being alone. Like, I think she like took me off the dresser, put me in my room and left. And I think just kind of through the process of going through with Michael, it just helped unpack kind of what that meant. And I think I developed just little protective things that come up throughout your childhood, I think, that kind of make you who you are. And all of those things, I think, have made me really successful. They're what kind of made me, like, my desire to be extremely independent and my desire to be just on my own. And like, that's what made me develop a really successful business. But I have a hard time connecting with people because I don't want to like depend on other people. So
and who can feel that? Who can feel that? Like you don't like connecting with people because you don't want to have to depend on anyone. Who has ever felt that? Right? It just feels like it's so good because Stephanie, you don't like to even be out in front of people. Like this is huge right now. I just really want to really acknowledge you because this isn't something you would normally do. And I really, really acknowledge what you're doing. Like it's really freaking awesome. It's like freaking awesome. And can you see, so like it was just that you were trying to reach for something on the dresser and then your mom came in and then what did you make it mean? Do you remember? I know this is just real short weeks ago, but what did you make it mean?
Really what it made it mean was the fact that I was left alone. Like it wasn't what I wanted didn't matter. Like it didn't matter in that instance. And I was left alone to deal with my emotions. And I think it just, that made me,
do everything yourself, right? Like, exactly. Do everything yourself, not let anyone in, not let anyone close. Yeah, I totally feel you inside of that. And so then inside of this, feeling that way, can you see then now how it played out in all areas of your life? Like not really wanting to be the leader, but having these businesses, but then not really wanting to lead. And then like, how does that show up for you? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, I mean, how did it show up for you? That's it. I think, and it is that diagram that you draw is so relevant because it's not just, I mean, that's what starts it, but then over many years, you develop these habits and these protective that you don't even know are there. And I think, and just kind of is self-fulfilling.
Right? Becomes like the self-fulfilling prophecy of over and over and over again.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the right time to share this, but I think what you over the course of these weeks have taught is just like how to recognize it and what to do with it. Like when you come up with something that is not in alignment, I mean, just kind of to understand what's happening and what to do with that. And that skill has really helped me kind of understand all the resistance in a lot of areas, that I've had.
What would you say is like how many skills, like if you can put a finger on it, how many skills do you think you've learned in these 7 weeks?
It's hard because like I could say like 5 really core ones, but they're life-changing core ones. Even like, because we had a session last night and as I was coming in, I had to talk to one of my hygienists about something and I said something that I think maybe triggered her. So I'm expecting her to respond to, and I'm going through in my mind, like, all the things, but then also dealing with her, I think the skills to learn how to deal just with other people when things come up, it just makes me not feel afraid. I think what happened is I avoid certain things because I would project what the outcome would be.
Yeah.
And then I think, not really having the skills to deal with it. Not that I'm like a master at this now. It's only been 7 weeks, but
I know.
I mean, I'm excited to move forward with the.
I know. I'm so excited for you. And what would you say like have been your greatest results since being? I know it's only 7 weeks and we've got we haven't even hit money. Money's coming up, right? Inside of that. But what would you say has been your greatest result?
Honestly, I think just feeling mentally clear, just clearer in my mind and just being, I think almost right away, feeling more present in my everyday interactions and not feeling like so cluttered in my head. Which I have been for a long time. I mean, to the point that I was like, what is going on? I mean, I recognized something was going on because I hadn't experienced that before where I was like stuck. When I opened my business, it was like, this is great. Let's go forward with this. And I feel like a very capable person. I'm like, I have a lot of confidence in what I'm able to do. But I think feeling valued by other people, and that's when it comes up, when those connections with people. Also, in one of the other coaching programs I did, it kind of had me identify like 6 core needs of everyone. And they were autonomy, esteem, security, purpose, connection, leisure, and health. And you're supposed to identify like 3 that are your core ones. I'm like, I'm all autonomy. Like I'm all autonomy, and I'm like health and purpose maybe. But then I think it bothered me, and I'm like, well, maybe a connection. Maybe connection really is one of my core needs. And I think what has come up is that it is one of my core needs. I think I just didn't acknowledge it because I was so driven to be just do my own thing and not depend on other people. And I mean, I have a lot of people in my life I can depend on it, but I just wanted to feel, and I think it's because I didn't have a lot of the skills to.
Yeah, I feel you. I really feel you. Like, it's amazing how something that can feel so insignificant looking back from our adult side of ourselves, right? It's like logically it's, oh, wow, like that wasn't anything. But then it is life altering for you as a child. And then what we do to self-protect to try to avoid ever feeling that way again. I really acknowledge everything that you've been through, and even just where you are right now and who you became in 7 weeks compared to where you were when you started is really huge. Like the way you show up, how you interact, what you're doing is like really, really huge. Really huge, Stephanie. So for those, I'll just ask you this inside of it, and then I'll go to no-go. For those inside of the want to do the program and they're like either afraid of like how are they going to pay for it or how will they fit it in, did you have those fears come up for you when you were making that decision? And if so, what did you do about it, or what would that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's relevant because it is, the value is, I can say, is like, you guys are very available and it's kind of remarkable how available you are actually for the cost. I mean, I don't want to say it's inexpensive or cheap because it's not, but for what you guys offer for that amount, I think it's valuable. It's worth what you charge. And depending on what anyone's individual goal, like for me, these things were holding me back from like doing things that I know will make money for myself. So I think that it's kind of, I think of it almost like an investment, like you invest in anything, which is probably a good place to put your money right now because there's no place else to really. And then time, I mean, I had to cram it in a little bit, but I had mentioned that, I mean, it's all recorded. So like I try to make the calls. The Sunday evenings are easier for me. The Thursday afternoons are hard, but I can watch them later. And then there's a lot of resources that are recorded. So it's nice because when I'm driving, I can listen and I mean, I think the time.
And would you say that because of the skill sets we're teaching you, that we kind of come into your life and you can use real life situation? It's not concepts, right? And we're helping you in your life day to day. Yeah, it's like so important because most programs are not like that. So at least none of the ones I've experienced. Most of it. So I was just curious if that's how you found it yourself.
I think it's very, yes, I agree. It's very. You're available. And I think the other thing too is you're kind. I probably don't reach out even as much as I should, but that's the other thing is I actually learn, everyone posts. So you can see what other people are posting and I can see it and learn from that as well. But you guys are very empathetic and just meet people where they are and support them where they are. And nothing is like comes up that's not worthy of like your attention, Because I think the things that we're learning in these 8 weeks are so like foundational, just like really, really simple. I mean, kind of simple. They're hard, but they're like really, it's kind of crazy how things come up in your life and you're like, why is this coming up? And I think that's, it happens for everybody. So yeah.
So good.